Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for January 9th. January 9th is the ninth day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, with 356 days remaining to the end of the year, 357 in leap years. Today's word is Hotspur. Hotspur can be a noun or an adjective. As a noun, Hotspur means a rash, hot-headed person. As an adjective, Hotspur means having a rash, hot-headed temperament. I've known some Hotspurs in my life. We're not sure exactly where this term came from, but the earliest documented use of the term Hotspur is 1403. And we'll get started today by talking about a terrible plague that was going around in the mid-1300s. The Bubonic Plague, known as the Black Death, was the most fatal pandemic recorded in human history. It's caused by a bacterium that was initially spread by fleas, but then, once established in the human population, easily took a form where it spread by person-to-person contact, often causing pneumonia, and that's where it really took off. Left untreated, 80% of its victims would die within 8 days. If it came in its pneumonic form, though, it had a 90 to 95% mortality rate. Terrifying and rapidly spreading, people naturally looked for someone to blame as the plague created religious, social, and economic upheavals. For one thing, it sounds like people at the time didn't quite understand about clean living conditions, personal hygiene, isolating the ill. One result of this not understanding what this was or where it came from or what to do about it was that on January 9th in 1349, a particular population in Basel, Switzerland were rounded up and incinerated. Of course, that didn't stop the plague. It looks like the initial run of that pandemic lasted about 7 years, from 1346 to 1353. It's estimated that 75 to 200 million people worldwide perished in that pandemic, estimated to have been about 40 to 80% of the population. And it took about 200 years for the population numbers to return to pre-pandemic levels. Outbreaks of the bubonic plague have continued to flare up around the world until the early 1800s. On January 9, 1793, Jean-Pierre Blanchard became the first person to fly in a balloon in the United States. This is the birthday of American engineer Joseph Strauss, born January 9, 1870. He designed bridges, was the chief engineer on the design of the Golden Gate Bridge in California. Mr. Strauss lived to the age of 68. This is the birthday of 37th President of the United States, Richard Nixon, born January 9, 1913. He lived to the age of 81. This is the birthday of actor Bob Denver, born January 9, 1935. He's best known as the actor who played Gilligan on the TV show Gilligan's Island and the beatnik Maynard G. Krebs on the TV show The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis. Bob Denver lived to the age of 70. Exoplanets, also known as extrasolar planets, are planets outside our solar system. The possibility of such a thing was considered in 1917, but the first discovery of extrasolar planets was announced on January 9, 1992, upon the discovery of 2 planets orbiting the pulsar PSR 1257 plus 12. The song I'm a Believer was written by Neil Diamond. The Monkees recorded it in 1966, and it hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in December of 1966, where it remained for 7 weeks. I'm a Believer by the Monkees turned out to be the biggest selling single for all of 1967. Neil Diamond, by the way, having written the song, recorded it with additional lyrics on his 1979 September Morn album, and also performed it with Linda Ronstadt on the Glenn Campbell Good Time Hour in 1970. But today we're talking about the Monkees version of I'm a Believer, number 1 on January 9, 1968. Links in the description. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlist that contains these videos. I'll put a link to that in the description. That description lives on YouTube, so for other platforms, I'll include the link to my blog page that is called No Really. You can also find me on Rumble, Parler, BitChute, and Getter. All those links in that description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time. I have an extra word in there. January 2nd. Do that one again. There's a little birdie on my front porch. Alrighty, back to work.